Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Friday, August 6th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. The surge in local COVID cases is prompting a major move by many area businesses. Despite any official action by the county, they're now requiring customers to provide proof of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 test. Here's KPBS reporter Melissa May.
Urban Mo's in Hillcrest has been open for 29 years, and they are one of the first businesses in San Diego to require guests to show proof of COVID-19 vaccination or a negative COVID-19 test.
We're noticing a lot of restaurants on Instagram shutting down, a lot of bars shutting down because they were having COVID outbreaks. And there's a point where we have to start protecting our staff and our guests.
Matthew Ramon is the co-owner of Urban Mo's. He says the staff and community have really supported their decision, and it's actually helped their business thrive.
We do feel like that extra layer really supports that safety for us. And we feel a little bit more relieved because not only are we working in this environment, but we're also going home to our loved ones and our families.
Ramon summed up their vaccination policy with one word:
choice. And we all have a choice in this pandemic to do what we feel that is right for us and for the business. And everybody has a choice not to come into our establishments if they choose not to. We're just protecting people, protecting our staff, protecting our families. That's all we're doing. And it's a choice.
The Signet Theater will enforce a similar vaccine policy, following Broadway's vaccine requirement and patrons' requests.
From just the people who have been coming for years, they are really excited about it because we're trying to keep the community as safe as possible. We've had a few people call in to buy tickets specifically because we announced this policy.
Jill Jones is Signet Theater's patron services manager. She says the policy is a testament to the theater environment.
In theater, you really need to be ready for anything. Stuff goes wrong, things change on a daily basis. We're some of the most flexible people on the planet.
While businesses are setting their own policies and other large California counties are now requiring indoor masks, San Diego County is holding off on a new mask mandate. In a written statement, County Communications Director Michael Workman told KPBS, "We have a very high vaccination rate. Risk of infection or severe illness among the vaccinated population is low. Until then, we highly encourage everyone to follow the existing guidance, and more importantly, if you haven't yet, get vaccinated." The staffs of Urban Mo's and Signet Theaters are all fully vaccinated. Both venues say it's because they want their guests to have a good time in a safe environment. Melissa May, KPBS News.
Coronavirus cases are climbing in San Diego, and so is the demand for testing as the more contagious Delta variant continues to spread. Here's a look at how many cases have been reported this week, with more than 1,400 just today. KPBS health reporter Matt Hoffman says county officials are opening up more testing sites to meet the growing need.
I've been having a headache, I have some swollen lymph nodes, and just feeling really tired. I guess kind of feeling a little bit out of it, I guess. That's the way I would describe it.
Rihanna Bisco and John Saeed are both vaccinated, but now both are getting tested after not feeling well following a music festival where they had a lot of close contact.
Right up in there, all up on you, people all in your face.
The pair are registered nurses, and while they knew it was a risk, they now want to see if they have to quarantine.
You need to know if you're infected or not, and with the free testing availability like this, there's no reason not to.
County officials are once again scaling up their testing capacity due to an increase in demand for it. At this site alone, they can do up to 1,500 tests per day. We saw long lines at the San Diego State Alumni Center Friday. It's one of 6 newly reopened testing sites throughout the county. All tests are free, and while some locations are offering walk-ups, others need appointments. A robust testing program is key to tracking the virus's spread.
No, it's a lot of mucus, lung congestion, no fever. You know, it's not serious, super serious, but still, we're having people over this weekend, and I want to see if I can get a quick test.
Hillcrest resident Ron Remillard is vaccinated, but he says he started feeling sick after also attending a music festival.
Catching a cold during the days after that seemed to be suspicious enough that I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Everyone we talked to, including Santee resident Scott Morton, say they're getting tested to protect those around them.
Not feeling real well, despite being vaccinated twice, you know. Just want to make sure I keep my friends and family safe.
County health officials estimate they're seeing an uptick in testing due to the more contagious Delta variant and new workplace requirements. Testing coordinator Ryan Clabo says these newly reopened sites aren't closing anytime soon.
So over the last 2 weeks, we noticed a rise in the demand, and we wanted to make sure that we were in front of that. With the Delta variant, the demand had increased that quickly.
Health officials are still doing mobile pop-up testing sites, and healthcare providers are also offering them. Results are typically given within 24 to 48 hours, and some pharmacies are offering rapid tests where results are received within minutes. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Governor Gavin Newsom says California is committed to getting kids back in classrooms and out of Zoom school.
We don't want our kids back online with all the disparities that were self-evident in another classroom I was in when I asked them how their download speeds are. And the fact that a young child in first grade is talking about download speeds suggests everything you need to know about the nature of the impact of this pandemic and how disproportionate it's been.
Newsom visited a school in San Bernardino today where he talked with young students about what they had to deal with while learning from home. California, Louisiana, New Jersey, Oregon, and Washington State are requiring masks for all students and teachers, regardless of vaccination status. More than 46,000 masks were handed out to students in National City today. Every student was given 5 disposable masks with the plan to keep handing them out in the weeks to come. Since the school year started late last month, the Sweetwater Union High School District has reported a total of 90 COVID cases at its dozens of campuses. Mayor Alejandra Sotelo Solis says masking up in the classroom is one tool available to stop the spread of the virus.
It's about going back to basics. As an athlete, it's about fundamentals. Masks was the first thing that we talked about that would help protect our students, our youth, and our elders. So we need to make sure that as schools open up, they have the resources and the tools to stay safe.
National City is still 7,000 shy of their 45,000 vaccinated residents goal. Tomorrow, they're offering students 12 and older who get the shot a free Amazon gift card as an incentive. Pediatricians are sounding the alarm about a rising number of children and teens contracting COVID. Coming up on Evening Edition, what they want parents to know. A crucial step forward in defeating COVID-19. Half the entire U.S. population is now fully vaccinated. Isabel Rosales takes a deeper look at the trends and the reason experts warn we still need to boost those numbers now more than ever.
A powerful milestone in our battle against the pandemic. Half the U.S. population is now fully vaccinated.
I'm so sorry that I made the mistake to be negligent and not get vaccinated.
Fighting for their lives against COVID-19, there is regret from some of the unvaccinated.
Vaccinations are so important, and I can do better as a parent, as a human, and I hope to God everybody else can too.
The more contagious Delta variant is causing an explosion of new cases and deaths, both seeing an increase of about 50% over last week. The vast majority of its victims are the unvaccinated.
I would still have my husband and my kids would still have their father if we had been able to get the vaccine before he got sick.
69% of Americans now live in a county with high transmission of the virus. Louisiana this week setting a new record on COVID-19 related hospitalizations.
We know we don't have enough people vaccinated.
While vaccinations are at their highest point in a month, health experts warn we need to do more.
Our models show that if we don't do so, we could be up to several 100,000 cases a day.
The CDC's director says hard-hit southern states have not yet seen their peaks.
We're still seeing exponential rises in Florida, in Louisiana, and many of the southern states that are seeing these surges. And so, no, we're not quite there yet.
In Washington, Isabel Rosales, KPBS News.
California became the first state in the nation this week to require workers in healthcare settings to be fully vaccinated. As KPBS's Amita Sharma reports, the new rule comes as the COVID-19 Delta variant is causing cases to spike among residents and caregivers at California nursing homes.
New cases among California nursing home residents jumped 53% Wednesday, bringing the current total to 185. Outbreaks amid nursing home care staff also grew 47%. Carl Steinberg is president of the Society for Post-Acute and Long-Term Care Medicine.
Well, we're definitely well into yet another surge of this virus. It's, we keep thinking we're getting to the end of the line, and then it throws us another curveball. That's clearly what's going on now.
San Diego County hasn't seen a big jump in nursing home cases. Steinberg says it could be because the county has relatively high vaccination rates in nursing homes. Locally, approximately 75% of caregivers and 90% of residents have been vaccinated. 3 San Diego nursing homes have had small outbreaks among residents, but around 30 local nursing homes have reported new cases of fewer than 11 among caregivers. Steinberg fears those numbers will continue to rise.
And I think ultimately we will see many facilities have to go back to significant restrictions on visiting and that sort of thing. I hate to say it, everybody was so happy that things were going in the other direction.
This week's order by state health officials requires all nursing home staff to be fully vaccinated by September 30th. Amita Sharma, KPBS News.
The U.S. will start flying migrants detained at the country's southern border into Mexico. Tens of thousands of people have crossed into the country every month. They are being expelled under Title 42, which allows the U.S. to quickly turn asylum seekers away during the pandemic. It started under President Trump, and this week the CDC announced it was extending Title 42 indefinitely. Several strike teams from fire departments around the county are trying desperately to help put out massive fires up north. The video that you're about to see was shot by members of the San Diego Fire Rescue Strike Team. It's from the town of Greenville, which sadly was destroyed by the Dixie Fire, which is now at 322,000 acres. Crews from Chula Vista, National City, Santee, and Poway are also up there. Federal officials are getting closer to identifying how they plan to control persistent cross-border sewage flows which routinely foul the San Diego Ocean. KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson has details.
The region's Environmental Protection Agency office has narrowed the list of possible solutions to 3 alternatives. All call for an expansion of the International Wastewater Treatment Plant. 2 alternatives include construction of another sewage plant next door, and the projects all call for sewer improvements along the border and in Mexico. The EPA's David Smith says it may be 2 years, though, before construction begins.
While we fully understand the urgency of the issue and the desire to get started tomorrow with construction, we think we've developed a process that moves things really quite quickly and will enable us to begin to see real results.
Clean water advocates are pushing to spend the $300 million in federal funds already set aside on the U.S. side of the border. Surfrider's Laura Walsh has mixed feelings about the process.
Yes, we want to see the timeline advanced as much as possible. Today's update does make us feel like there's real commitments from the people managing the project and studying the project to move forward.
Federal officials will do some additional analysis before they pick their final project. It'll likely be next year before the preferred project is identified. There are some small-scale improvement projects to canyon collectors that could help in the short term. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
They call it a crisis, and they want to clean it up. The Spring Valley Cleanup Crew and a coalition of San Diego activists will team up for the 3rd Tijuana River Valley Cleanup event. They say it's their last push to galvanize local elected officials before escalating efforts to higher levels of government. The cleanup effort is this Saturday, and it begins at 8:30 in the morning. Volunteers can arrive at 1500 Monument Road, and you're asked to please bring rubber boots, long pants, long sleeves, and 95 masks, and a change of clothes.
No rain chances ahead for us as we keep things warm and bright. Yes, the story's staying dry for us. A quiet start to next week as even temperatures are a little bit closer to where we want to be this time of year. So really relatively quiet weather. A bit of a marine layer out there tonight. That is always going to kick in. 66 the low for San Diego. Oceanside coming in at 63. As we work our way toward Borrego Springs, 81 for that low. Notice Futurecast depicting here that marine layer just kind of hugging the coastline. No impacts through the interior parts of our region because, well, it's going to be kind of that dry, high pressure system that keeps things fairly quiet. So with it, you can see this warm, dry setup. Monsoonal moisture suppressed far to the south. Other than parts of southern Arizona, I don't think we really see much activity from that, which is why we're not really going to be talking about it in our region. Tomorrow, we do make it to 74 in San Diego. Chula Vista coming in at 74, Escondido 84 for your high, and venturing into places like Mount Laguna 77. Plenty of sunshine out there. Futurecast does depict as we go throughout the day that marine layer eases its way offshore through the afternoon tomorrow, and the rest of the weekend we've got another marine layer for Sunday morning. Some impacts with that, and pretty quiet then as we head through Sunday afternoon. Again, monsoonal moisture staying to the south. Most of that activity, if we would see anything as far as rainfall, would be towards Arizona. Coastal locations next couple of days hanging out in the mid-70s. Good amount of sunshine out there. Of course, that is after we deal with the marine layer mostly through the morning hours, so becoming pretty sunny throughout the days. And that's true for our inland locations too. 85 for the high here, not just Saturday and Sunday, but right into Monday. So solidly in the mid-80s for the next few days. Mountain locations, mid-70s here, pretty comfortable and fairly quiet, even as we head towards the middle of next week, where we don't see much change in the temperatures. Could actually even cool off a little bit for Tuesday. For KPBS News, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Melissa Constanzer.
A North County water project may be getting some much-needed financial backing. The Secretary of the Interior will be recommending a $1.7 million grant award for the construction of the Pure Water Oceanside project. Oceanside is one of 11 applicants named in the federal appropriations process for this funding. The project is intended to purify recycled water to create a new local source of high-quality drinking water that is clean, safe, drought-proof, and environmentally sound. Promising numbers released by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics today. Last month, the country saw its biggest jobs gain since August of last year. President Biden says the July jobs report shows his recovery plan is working.
Economic growth is the fastest in 40 years. Jobs are up. The unemployment rate is the lowest since the pandemic hit. Black unemployment is down as well. Why? Because we put in place the necessary tools.
The economy added 943,000 jobs in July, beating economists' expectations by more than 70,000 jobs. The unemployment rate also fell to 5.4%, a new low in this pandemic. Over the last week, many companies have announced vaccination requirements for employees. Miro Kopik breaks down the benefits of such mandates for those businesses and the country in the Friday Business Report.
We're at 50% fully vaccinated rate in the United States right now. This can push us to a herd immunity level of 70, 75, 80%, which is very important. Companies want a stable workforce. They don't want these potential outbreaks. They want to decrease their liability. And what this will allow is greater immunity across communities wherever these businesses are located. More so, businesses are looking for stability. They're looking for certainty. They want economic growth. They're enjoying really strong business performance, and the risk of that slowing down is a major impetus, and that benefits not only companies but shareholders and employees all alike. So overall, this has been a very interesting development, especially since government policies across states or the federal government has been so uneven.
Federal student loan payments will remain suspended through January of next year. Today, the Biden administration announced the extension to the pause that was scheduled to expire next month. Borrowers will not have to make payments on their loans during the moratorium. Interest rates will be set at 0%, and debt collection efforts will remain on pause. The Education Department says this will be the final extension. As students across the country prepare to return to the classroom, a well-known pediatric health group says there's a substantial increase in children and teens catching COVID. Mandy Gaither has the latest.
Classroom concerns as students across the U.S. begin to head back to school. The American Academy of Pediatrics says that while severe illness appears to be rare among children infected with the coronavirus, more than 71,000 children and teens caught COVID-19 last week, up 84% from the previous week and 5 times as many cases as the end of June.
There seems to be this notion that children don't get sick from COVID. They do.
A grim outlook from the CDC as its latest forecast projects COVID-19 hospitalizations and deaths are likely to increase over the next month.
We're really concerned with the Delta variant taking control, that we're going to see a substantial increase over the next few weeks, with school reopenings being a major catalyst.
As the debate over masks continues to heat up, a new poll reveals 55% of Americans surveyed support the CDC's recommendation that all public school students, staff, and teachers wear masks in school regardless of vaccination status. 41% of those polled called it a bad idea.
If you have a child that is eligible for a vaccine, get them vaccinated.
Right now, the states with the fewest 12 to 17-year-olds vaccinated are Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Wyoming, and Tennessee. And if your child is too young to be vaccine eligible,
masking and distancing and grouping in very small groups will prevent exposure and spread.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And a reminder, everyone age 12 and up may be eligible for a vaccine, and you can find more information at kpbs.org. Just click on the vaccines link right there on our homepage.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, help wanted. A strong jobs report shows a surging economy, but COVID's threat lingers. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
The COVID pandemic has changed life for all of us, and sometimes in unexpected ways. KPBS reporter John Carroll shows us how disruptions in supply chains are taking a toll on San Diego's bicycle business.
At Adams Avenue Bicycles in Normal Heights, owner Chuck Kofer has all the business he can handle, and he says that's the case at bicycle businesses everywhere.
And I think a lot of shops saw as much as, again, 20, 30, maybe 50% increase in sales during the pandemic. So
when we visited Kofer last August,
where are the bikes?
The problem was a pandemic-inspired spike in sales and not enough inventory to meet demand.
Yeah, I probably have 8 new bikes to sell.
Fast forward almost a year, and now Kofer's still dealing with inventory issues, but he's got plenty of bikes to sell these days. Now, the issue is parts.
We're missing both high-end parts and everyday consumable parts.
That means Kofer can't sell a lot of the parts that he actually has in stock.
If I was just to sell every part I can get my hands on for walk-in sales, that leaves me with no parts to do service. And service is a big part of our business.
So while the city of San Diego invests big bucks to make America's finest city a fine place to bike, the pandemic continues making it a challenge. First, to get the bikes, and now to get them fixed.
Definitely some weird times.
John Carroll, KPBS News.
With movie theaters open again, summer blockbusters are back. The Suicide Squad has reassembled for a new movie. KPBS film critic Beth Accomando says DC finally got everything right.
This is suicide. Well, that's kind of our thing.
I'm a superhero! Let me be clear. If you can't laugh at people getting blown up,
then James Gunn's The Suicide Squad is not for you, and you've been warned. But if you enjoy cartoonish excess, even when it extends to violence, then this hard R DC Comics super anti-hero action film is exactly what you need.
And? Yes, that is your hand. Very good.
We're all gonna die.
I hope so.
A film about a group of unruly, antisocial, insubordinate misfits whose moral compasses are seriously skewed needs a director who cut his teeth at Troma Entertainment, which brags that it's been disrupting media for 45 years. Gunn's that director.
Yeah, well, I think we've got it right now.
And his film disrupts Hollywood conventions with glee and leaves delicious chaos in its wake.
I was emboldened by Warner Brothers' faith in me to be able to do whatever we wanted with this movie, to take whatever risks we wanted, killing whatever characters we wanted to kill, telling the story in the sort of outlandish way that we tell it, taking risks from the storytelling in terms of focusing on the characters a lot in a way that a lot of superhero movies don't.
What are you guys doing?
Well, we're here to save you.
You were gonna save me?
It was a really good plan, too.
And I think it was just, for me, the total freedom of everything. Not to mention the R rating and letting us do what we wanted to do in that respect.
Yeah, he's not a werewolf, okay? He's a weasel. He's harmless. I mean, he's not harmless. He's killed 27 children. But, you know, we got him to, I think he's agreed to do this.
The Suicide Squad is not for everyone, but for some of us, it's a refreshing piece of comic anarchy. Beth Accomando, KPBS News.
Looks like fun. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, proud to support the mission of KPBS and privileged to serve San Diego clients. Anderson Plumbing, Heating and Air, helping homeowners maintain drain, heating, and cooling systems since 1978. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.